we're living in a generation in which people can't even define what a woman is. There's somebody, Matt Walsh, who did a whole documentary where he went around and asked college professors and doctors, what is a woman? And nobody could answer the question, even on a very basic anatomical level. If you're not reading the Tanakh through the lens of a relationship, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you've completely missed the point. You see, when the Jewish people stood at Mount Sinai, we entered into a marital type relationship with God, where we committed to serving Him and Him only. And this analogy is used throughout the Tanakh. When the Jewish people have strayed and worshipped idolatry, it was considered adultery. And on the flip side, the book Shir HaShirim, for instance, the Song of Songs, describes the relationship with God, the Jewish people's yearning for God and God's yearning for us in the most intimate of terms. It's nearly erotic in nature if you're reading it just a plain reading of the text. It's about two lovers who yearn for nothing more than to be in each other's embrace. And this is our relationship with God. It is so intense. It is so full of emotion, so full of heart. And yet there are other things that we need to extrapolate from this. We need to understand what it means to be in a marital relationship, what it means to have a husband, to have a wife. What is the role of each of these components? Now, we've already spoken about how the Torah speaks in the language of man, and these are allegories to help us to understand an unlimited God. When the Torah uses masculine language, for instance, it does not mean that God has a gender or skin color or any other physical limitation. So let's develop this concept a little bit further. What does it mean to be a male? What does it mean to be a female in a relationship? What are these masculine, feminine energies? In a relationship, a very physical relationship, a male is a giver of a potential form of something. A woman receives that potential, develops it, nurtures it, and brings it to fruition. Let me give you a concrete example. In a physical relationship, a man imparts seed. The woman absorbs the seed, nurtures the seed within inside of her body, and brings forth a baby, a finished product. That's a relationship between masculine and feminine energies. Now let's take this concept and apply it to our relationship with God. God gave us everything inside of the world, as we've already spoken about. But there's a very interesting verse inside of Psalm 115, verse 16, that says, Hashemayim shemaim la'Hashem, ve'ha'aretz nasan livnei Adam. And the heavens belong to God, but the earth He gave to the children of man. What does it mean that God gave the earth to us? He gave the earth to us in its unfinished potential. He wants us to nurture it, to bring forth its potential. How do we do that? How do we take something very physical and bring it forward into its best potential state, into a finished product? God gave us the tools. He gave us the Torah and the mitzvahs. He told us this world is so vast. It is so big. There are so many different intricacies involved inside of it. So I'm going to give you a Torah with 613 commandments. And those different commandments are going to tell you how to bring forth the potential from every single situation in life. And that's what we do. We take these beautiful commandments that God gave us, we take this beautiful earth that God gave us, and we bring forth the potential from it. This earth is not an evil place. It's not a place that has to be escaped from, as Paul would have you believe. Satan is not the God over this earth. Satan is only an agent of God, which is a discussion for a different time. Now, these commandments that God gave us, they're very doable. In fact, in Deuteronomy chapter 30, it says that these commandments are not far away from you. They're not up in the heavens that somebody should have to go and get it for you. They're not on the other side of the sea that somebody should have to cross over. Rather, they are very near to you in your mouth and in your heart that you can do it. You want to know what Paul did with this segment of the Torah that tells us that we have the capability of fulfilling God's commandments, that we can nurture this world that He gave us, that we can bring forth potential, that we can do it? He changed it. He changed the message completely, and He even deleted off the section that you may do it. Let me read just one verse for you. This is Romans chapter 10, verse 8. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. That is the word of faith which we preach. And what is the word of faith? He goes on to say in verse 9, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. Paul is giving you a new method for salvation, a method that was not prescribed inside the Tanakh, a method that is not mentioned a single time, and that we have to rely only upon His word to believe. You know, one thing I find very interesting about Paul is that so many times throughout his scriptures, he's writing, I'm not a liar. You know, just believe me, I'm not lying. I always think to myself, dude, this guy is protesting way too much. It's like the biggest giveaway he's a con man. Somebody who's innocent doesn't go around saying, I'm innocent, you have to believe me, I'm innocent, everywhere he turns. Paul was going around being everything to every man. To the Jew, he became like a Jew. Even though he's not under the law, he became as if he were under the law. Why? In order to win some. And over in Philippians, Paul says, whether by truth or by pretense, the important thing is that Christ should be preached. He doesn't care if you walk around lying as long as he got converts to his faith. You see, Tanakh gave us a very concrete way to have a relationship with God. God told us what our role is, what he wants us to do. And Paul came along and switched that message completely. He is the biggest disruptor to a relationship. Paul, who hated the commandments so much that he wrote books and books about how the commandments are done away with and that people shouldn't put their faith in them. Paul, who wants you to believe his personal revelation from Jesus when he was walking on the road to Damascus about this grand mystery that he received from no man, that he didn't receive from Jerusalem, that he didn't receive from anybody except for Jesus himself, that nobody knew about. Paul, who said he holds the key to your salvation, and the key to your salvation means turning your back on God's commandments. If you want to be in a real relationship with God, we have to push Paul out of our minds. We have to get back to the original. We have to get into the Tanakh. We have to learn the messages that it truly has to teach us. And we have to engage with the world that God gave us. We have to bring forth its potential. We have to nurture it. And we have to hand it back to God. Say, we're raising up this physical earth. We're giving it back to you in better form than we found it. We are elevating the godly potential within it. That's what a relationship is about. While we're speaking on this topic about male and female relationships and the respective roles, I also wanted to share with you information that you can use if you're dating, you're looking for a spouse. This is information that I think is vital for everybody to know. Now, we're living in a generation in which people can't even define what a woman is. There's somebody, Matt Walsh, who did a whole documentary where he went around and asked college professors and doctors, what is a woman? And nobody could answer the question, even on a very basic anatomical level. People just didn't know. So I think in this generation, we really need to have clarity of vision. We need to understand what a woman is. Now, I'm not a feminist by any means in the classical sense of the word. I think that feminism is based completely upon the wrong precepts. The whole basis of feminism is to say that a woman is as good as a man. But a woman is not as good as a man. A woman is completely separate from a man. You can't compare the two of them. A man has his superpowers and a woman has her superpowers. You don't have to be in battle with each other. They balance, they complement each other. We have to appreciate them. We have to realize that there's a masculine energy and there's a feminine energy, and both of them are beautiful and both of them are needed. So what is the masculine energy and what is the feminine energy? We've already spoken about how the masculine energy is to be a giver and the female energy is to be a receiver. So what does this mean in context of a human relationship? Obviously, when two people are meeting for marriage, they want to know basics about the person's character. They want to know that the person is attractive to them. They have a list of basic qualifications. But there's another qualification that I think often gets overlooked, and it's so important. A person has to ask themselves, when I am with this person, how do they make me feel? Do I feel masculine? Do I feel feminine? What does it mean to feel masculine, to feel feminine? A man, deep in his psyche, he has a need to be a giver. He has a need to impart something to a spouse that nobody else in the entire world can give to her. And for a woman to feel feminine, she has to feel vulnerable enough to be able to receive what he gives her. If she always has her guard up, if she has a barricade around her heart, then she can't receive. And if she can't receive, then she can't reflect back. She can't take what he has given and nurture it into a relationship. She can't give him back the love that he needs. So in order for a relationship to flourish, a man has to impart something to the woman that nobody else can impart, and she has to be able to receive it. This is a very basic concept, but many people take it out of context and they misunderstand it. They'll say, oh, a man has to be the giver and the woman has to be the receiver. That means the man has to go out, he has to earn the money, and the woman has to be barefoot and pregnant inside of the kitchen. That's not what it means at all. Every relationship is going to look different. What it means is that a woman has to be able to receive from that specific man something that is vital to her feeling safe, to her feeling vulnerable. If she can't receive that, then she can't relax and she becomes very frustrated. And if she's frustrated, she can't give him back the relationship. And then he becomes frustrated because he couldn't give effectively. It frustrates his male psyche. What I respect in a man, what makes me feel safe and vulnerable, be something very different from what somebody else feels. It's not about doing the taxes. It's not that sort of thing. The dynamics of the relationship can work out from couple to couple. But what's important is that a woman should be able to relax and feel, this is my man, this is my rock, this is my foundation, this is somebody that I can relax with. This is somebody that I would follow anywhere. And he has to be able to feel, this is somebody who makes me feel masculine, this is somebody who receives what I can give her, and I feel that I am her everything. That's a healthy relationship. That's the kind of relationship that everybody should want. A relationship where they feel completely reliant upon one another, because you can't be a giver without somebody receiving, and you can't receive without somebody giving. And it becomes this beautiful dance of harmony. And please don't ask me, if you're out of harmony, how to fix it. I'm not a marital counselor. I don't have the solution. I'm sorry. I don't. That's why I say this is great information for dating. So if you're going to date, look out for the clues. How is this person making me feeling? If you're a man, is this feeding my male psyche? Am I going to be able to be a giver for this person? And if you're a woman, is my guard down? Can I relax? Can I receive? If you can answer yes to those questions, then it might just be a great match. Wishing you all the best in every single one of your relationships, starting with the one above and to those down below.